Visit LA. It's beautiful here. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Jeff, the thing about the health trends is I feel like they are exhausting, but they are spreading faster and faster, and stranger trends gain more and more traction now due to the sort of thing that we talk about on this show all the time, which is the incredibly fast spread of pseudoscience throughout the internet.
Yes, it's the internet.
As we give more podcast licenses to more white men like us, the issue is the white men who podcast have ideas and they spread the ideas, and they don't really look into the ideas. They simply just go, well, seems like good idea.
Right. Which is why you have to rely on bearded white men like us.
Right.
To offer no usable ideas.
Right. It's tough. It's tough to tell which bearded white men to trust in podcasting.
Sure.
And I would say safely, none but us. Safely.
It's a good rule of thumb. It's a good rule of thumb. Trust us and no one else.
Yeah, that's where I would go. But then when you get into unbearded, you can trust just about anybody. I mean, your Rogans.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If they've got just stubble.
Yeah.
And a shaved pate.
That's how you know it's real science. But there are a lot of health things that have been getting passed around. And one of them was actually something that our dear friend, the vampire billionaire who we spoke about a few episodes back, is really into, which is calorie restriction.
Right.
The vampire billionaire loves the intermittent fasting.
Sure.
The vampire billionaire man loves the calorie restriction for longevity, right?
This is the fella whose goal is to have the cellular age of a 22-year-old, even though he's pushing 50.
He's the one who steals the blood from his son.
Yes. His actual son gives him blood. And that's not, you think that we're making a goof or exaggerating some way, but he's actually stealing his son's blood.
Yeah, we're all pretty familiar with the vampire billionaire, and I think, but he's not the only person. I mean, intermittent fasting is something that I've been hearing about from people that I know that are doing it.
I've done it.
Yeah, and the calorie restriction is another thing where it's like, oh, we've done studies where calorie restriction increases longevity. Motherfucker, you've done those in mice. You don't know. The problem with studying longevity in a human life is keeping the controlled conditions controlled over a period of a human life, controlling the variables of a human life. Even if you're able to do that, well, you're going to have to wait at least 90 years to see if it works.
Fair. Yes. And in order to have a large enough sample size for it to make any sense at all, it just seems very unwieldy. Any kind of long-term pervasive study on human beings and longevity. Yeah,
they're the people that say they only eat one big meal a day.
Yeah.
There are those people, and they're like...
No. I think you mean one happy meal a day.
Oh, no, that's... One happy meal a day is enough calories for a day. Yeah. One happy meal contains all the calories for a day, but none of the nutrition is what you're thinking.
Right. Right.
And you will be hungry afterwards. But no, they're the people that are like, no, I eat one big meal in the middle of the day and that's all I eat. There are people that are doing a lot of weird things with calories. And here's the problem with that, Jeff. Not only are these things not entirely proven, they do make you a crazy person.
Oh. Well, because you need food and your body craves it? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, essentially, Jeff. Essentially, what these people are doing are ignoring the fact that, no, your body needs food and will tell you when it needs food. And it's
that's when I binge.
Well, then you're fine.
I starve.
This article is not about you.
Starve and binge. Starve and binge.
Yeah, that's the way you do it.
It's healthy. It's super healthy.
Look, the diet, the dieting part of the health and wellness industry is makes about $250 billion a year. So when people are trying to sell you these diets and these different things that they're doing, keep in mind that it is a sale. They are making a sale. They are trying to sell you something, whether it is themselves as a brand, whether it is a product that they're making, whether it is a diet plan. They're making something out of this. And one of the things that's interesting is even dieting in a proper way, where you're trying to cut calories, substitute foods that you normally eat with other foods, healthier foods, right?
Yeah.
Doing that is going to change what your body is used to. And even dieting in that sort of way causes people to be 80% more likely to have symptoms of depression, simply dieting correctly.
Wow. Really? Wow. 80%. Wow.
80%. And so
now, I wonder if that's a self-fulfilling prophecy in the sense of folks that are more inclined to diet already have sort of a poor self-perception or feel like they need to, I don't know. Well, I wonder if there's an
remember this is across, they're taking this across these people who are already in this condition, are already in this shape, and then they are putting them on a diet, and then 80% of them become more prone. So the control is already people who maybe already have that sort of like lower self-image that you're talking about.
It's not self-selecting for diet. It's, hey, let's put you on a diet and see how you feel.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. They are 80% more likely to have symptoms of depression. Obviously, cutting calories also makes people hangry. That's actually scientifically proven. Like, you do become hangry. It affects everything from our cognition and judgment, our emotions. It changes like cognitive performance. Going deeper than dieting. Talking about like food, talking about hunger and food inequality, right? Talking about kids who come from homes where there is food insecurity. We know that those kids perform 13 to 16% worse than they would if they were eating every day. Massachusetts just made school lunch free for all children.
Same here in Colorado.
Same in Colorado. Every child goes to school. They get a free lunch no matter what. And that is improving the cognitive performance of kids in school 13 to 16%.
Yeah, but do they have like sick abs?
No. And that's the problem with most children.
Well, this is what I'm saying is, sure, depression, sure, hangry, sure, bad cognitive ability. But like, that line on the side of your hips that like can stick out and like can really see it when you're so skinny.
Yeah, I am trying not to call it the cum gutter.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that word, but then you did.
Because it was so close to discussion about children.
Yeah, you got to give a little window between talking about
it made me feel real weird to do it. Because I did not want to put it that close to discussion about children.
No. It's very, very smart of you not to call it that. And, until we got real far away from what children eat at school. Yeah,
we're going to move on. So one of the things is when we are not eating properly, a lot of the things that we feel, we take physiological things that are happening in our bodies and we process them as emotion subconsciously. We've talked about this before. The idea of the cabin pressure on the airplane making you more prone to crying. Because that pressure on your chest makes you feel as though, oh, I'm depressed, I'm going to cry. There's a lot of stuff like that. if you are, they've done studies that have shown that if you are more worried about having medical tests, like if you're like, oh, I've got a medical test coming up, you are more risk averse in other areas of your life. Like an unrelated financial decision can come up, something that you normally would be like, oh, that's an okay thing, I can spend the money on that. But because you're like worried about this medical test, you are just naturally worried.
Right. Yeah.
And so everything
I think this goes back to the scientific experiment Bobby V. McFerrin, which says, don't worry.
Right.
Be happy.
And you got to use your chest as a drum. And when you use your chest as a drum, it changes your physiological state. You feel happy like a drum.
Yes.
So basically, I mean, you look at all of these simple things that affect us physiologically. The fact that we take physical input sometimes and think of it as emotion. Now think about what happens when you're not eating enough and you're a little hungry all the time. There's a 2022 study where this psychologist from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, they asked 129 women. Half of them had been asked to fast for 14 hours. Okay. So you're talking about like 64 of these women had fasted for 14 hours. The other 64 hadn't. They asked them questions about their hunger level, their eating habits, and their mood. And they found that obviously the hungry women reported more negative emotions, including higher tension, anger, depression, fatigue, and confusion. They also reported lower positive emotions, and they weren't small effects. They were huge differences in mood.
Dude, you don't need no scientific study for that. It's called being married. I could have told you.
Being married, being in any relationship is simply carrying little snacks for the other person.
That's right. If you want to be happy in your marriage,
you do not put snacks in your bag or in your pocket for yourself. Even though you will become hungry, you are putting snacks in your bag or pocket for the other person. They're not snacks that you like.
Yeah.
But other person, O. Henry style,
if you want
of
survive,
the Magi style, has snacks for you in their pocket as well.
What they say, in sickness and in health, for rich or for poorer, pack a snack.
Pack a snack, buddy. Pack a snack. Like your bag might have healthy snacks for your wife, and your wife's bag might have garbage for you.
That's right, because we know each other.
And like you could both carry your own stuff, but no, because also as adult humans, we refuse to take responsibility for our emotions. So what do? I'm not
going to bring a snack because I don't want to be snacking.
No.
But if my wife happens to have a snack that I enjoy, I didn't bring it. I'll eat it.
Yeah, but I didn't bring it because I didn't need one.
I don't need that.
I don't need it. I'm an adult. I don't need to snack. I'm fine. Wah.
I love this study because they're like,
honey.
Yeah. Here, eat this. That's the answer to that.
Dude, the worst part of it is when the two of you are out and you're hangry to the point where the snack doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So you won't eat the snack. And so you just get worse.
You just get hangrier.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. The meltdown. It's no different than a toddler.
Oh, it's exactly the same as a toddler. Exactly the same. You become a toddler.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Well, I brought this snack for you. I don't want it and I don't need it. I'm fine.
Stop offering me things.
Stop thinking about my well-being. It's gross.
I do love that this study involved bringing a bunch of women into a room and asking them about their mood. That just seems like just a real great pitch.
Are you doing 1950s sitcom guy right now? Are you Jackie Gleasoning right now?
My wife.
Women do be hungry and angry. What are you doing right now?
I wasn't women. I said marriage. That's me, both sides.
No, but then you said this study is funny because they brought in the women's and they asked them about their mood.
Because you said like they brought in 140 women and asked them about their mood. I'm like, oof, that's a tough room.
And they do be shopping. That's all you're saying. That's all you're saying. One of the things that they do talk about is that this low mood causes you. I mean, it really changes the way that you interpret the entire world around you. So just being hungry and being in a lower mood changes the way you perceive things. If you're in a negative mood, you actually remember negative things better than you remember positive things, which then changes your mood even further.
It's that thing that you see in cartoons where they look at the person, they just see a little turkey with those. It's not a person; it's a turkey shaped person.
They call it Tex Avery syndrome.
It's got those little what are those little caps on the end of the wings? You know, those little
exactly
billowy caps.
I believe that those are paper. I believe those are supposed to be paper. They were supposed to cover. I think they cover the bone of the drumstick so it looks fancier, and it just reminds you a little bit less that you're eating a living thing, I think.
Just a little dainty flourish there.
Hey, what happened to America? We used to live in a real country.
Man,
we used to live in a real.
They used to care about whether you saw the bones or not.
They used to put little paper crowns on the turkeys. We used to know how to.
That's called being considerate of your guests.
It's called.
Do I want to eat an entire turkey? Yes.
Listen.
Do I want to think about its little bone ends? Hell no.
It's called having standards. And I think the moment we stopped putting the little paper crowns on the ends of the turkey bones, we really let America slide.
Yeah.
You know? Our educational system started being ranked lower. Our happiness levels started being ranked lower. Our caring about our fellow man.
All the women and their moods, Anthony.
Dude, and they ask you to hold their bag when they do be shopping. You know?
Can we just get back to a simpler time where the turkey had shame
and the women, Jeff?
I love my women like I like my turkeys.
With tiny paper crowns.
With tiny coverings to their bones.
Because they're all queens. You're all queens. These negative, remembering negative things better happens. This is why, we're supposed to, things like gratitude journals actually work, right? Wow. This is why things
when you're hungry?
Well, maybe less when you're hungry, but I mean, in general, the idea of, when you're in a negative mood, you tend to remember negative things better. So by keeping a gratitude journal, by waking up in the morning and smiling, by making yourself smile.
Yeah.
Or in Jeff's case, by telling women he sees to smile. Jeff is a good person.
Now we can't release this episode.
Jeff is a good person.
Hey, I just love turkey.
That's all.
That's all. But yes, I totally. My dad used to do that when I was a kid. He used to tell me about it. He's like, if you ever feel angry or if you feel, upset, force yourself to smile. Just force it onto yourself because your body will do a thing and your emotional state will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think that was such a crazy bit of advice, and yet it does work. It does work. If you force yourself, like that thing where I'm going to tell another wife thing. This is going to get me in trouble. But you get into an argument with your loved one.
Yes.
Right before you have to go in.
An unspecified loved one.
Yes. You never know. Whoever it is.
Yeah.
You get into an argument right before you have to go into a party or you're going to see other people, whatever. And you like put on a happy face and then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, you actually are happy.
Yeah.
It really does. It changes your mood. Your physical state informs your emotional state. And I think that's, unfortunately, works. It sounds like with this, what you're talking about here with your state of hunger. Yeah. Will do that in a negative way.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's one of those things where because we are not in tune with our bodies. Normally as as humans, but as adults too, one of the things I'm sure that you've been trying to do, Kylo's a little old for it now, but, one of the things that you try to teach toddlers and kids when they're in like kindergarten, first grade, things like that is to tell the difference between something their body is feeling and their mind is feeling.
Right.
Are you really sad right now or are you tired? Are you really angry right now or are you hungry? Why is this making you feel this way? And if you can figure it out, you can solve it. And we all know that. That's something that we know. But I think there's two things that happen. Number one, as adults, we become very busy and we start ignoring our bodies and our emotions because we're powering through different things.
Yes.
And then number two, we also just believe that we are intellectual beings that don't need to worry about it. We can think our way out of whatever we're in. And that's not always true.
Right. No, I think that's absolutely accurate, is that we're so we're so conceited in our thought of being, higher evolved species that we can just power through our natural physical states. Because but I do think that far too often I'm just the result of all my biochemical state of being. Like
100%. There's 100 million bacteria in my stomach right now that are telling me how I feel emotionally.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with my day.
Right.
It's just all these weird little creepy crawlies all around me that are just like, you feel like this, bud.
So is the takeaway from this to just, not limit your calories or not inhibit your body's need for satiation, hunger wise? How do I act on this information?
Well, I mean, the thing is, the easy thing is like, your body tells you eat when you're hungry, don't eat when you're not hungry. But the trick of it is, well, how do I do that if I am somebody who is dieting or somebody who needs to change something physically or change their diet, right? One of the things that I have a tendency to fall into if I'm not paying attention to it is my diet will turn into a lot of junk food. And then when you try to turn your diet back into healthy food, if you do it all at once, your body's just like, no, I don't need any of this. I don't want any of this. I'm craving something totally different.
And that's the other thing is you're not always a reliable source of whether you're hungry or not. Or at least that's how I find. Sometimes I'll eat because I'm bored. I'll eat because, there are
studies that show a lot of people eat when they're thirsty because they don't know they're thirsty and they think they're hungry.
We're big dumb animals.
We're big dumb animals, Jeff. I want to give you a couple more examples of how this small thing of just being a little hungry is affecting things. There was a 2011 study of parole judges in Israel. Parole judges.
Oh boy.
And they found out that these judges were more lenient and more likely to grant parole at the start of the day and just after lunch. But right before lunch or at the end of the day, they were like,
That's why every time I've been prosecuted for a crime, I bring snacks, just like with my wife.
Yeah. I wish they put my wife. I wish the parole would look at my wife. Am I right? No, but it's true. What you want to do is you want to bring some gorp for the judge.
Yeah, always. Judge loves a gorp.
Judge loves a little gorp.
Gorp for the corp. That's what I always say.
What is gorp? Just raisins and peanuts? Is that what it is? Good old raisins and peanuts?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's varietals of gorp. You know, you can get gorp with other stuff in there.
Can I tell you?
Gorp.
I used to get these magazines, and I don't think we subscribe to them. I think these are just magazines that happen to children. But it was things like magazines like Ranger Rick and things like that. Mm-hmm. Do you remember these?
Sure.
And they were just like little magazines that would come, and they would have like little art projects and little things to do outside, and you would just
compare the two pictures and see what's different.
Yeah, I think one level of it turned into Highlights magazine or something.
Yeah, right.
But I
Boy's
remember,
Life.
Well, yeah, things like that, Boy's Life, and I remember one issue came and it blew my fucking mind, Jeff. And it was, you can hollow out an apple and make a bong, make a bong. And you can get so high, dude. You could get so baked, and you don't even need a pipe.
That's why they call it Highlights magazine. You know what I'm saying?
No, it was, you can hollow out an apple and put snacks in the apple.
What?
Like gorp in the apple, like trail mix inside the apple, walk around with the apple, eat the insides of it, and then eat the apple like nature's bread bowl.
Oh, no. What size apples are we talking here?
I mean, like
enormous apple that has the storage capacity for any amount of snack.
Well, let me tell you something, man. I saw that and I went running to my mother and I was like, we have got to do this. Did it work? It must happen. Well, my mom said no for a few days. She was like, no, that's silly. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. We have the apple. We have the trail mix. You have the knife. I'm not allowed to use the knife. Somebody has to do this.
So this just does not compute to me. How much trail mix can you get into are you coring an apple, or are you like literally carving out all of the innards of the apple? How much can you fit in there?
Yeah, you slice the top off the apple. Then you cut the core out, and then you cut around the inside, almost like you're kind of like gutting an avocado,
or like a pumpkin, like you're doing a pumpkin.
Yeah, or like you're doing a small pumpkin. Like
so then you've got your gorp in your apple. Do you just pour it out of the apple into your mouth, or are you biting into the apple and getting gorp in your bite?
No, if you bite into the apple, it's like a gorp pinata. It's all over. What you're supposed to do is you put the top of the apple back on and you seal it with peanut butter.
What? What is even happening? Everything I thought I knew was real.
Yeah.
It's being upended in one moment.
And then I went to what we called the woods. The woods was a small number of trees in my friend David Ganzikoffer's backyard, which seemed like a large woods to us, but it was not. So we went into the woods with the apple, and we hiked until we were hungry. We opened up the apple, poured out the gorp. He got half, I got half, and then I simply ate the apple.
So wait, you got to pour the gorp past the peanut butter ridge there? All of this seems so problematic.
No. Peanut butter ridge comes. Yeah. I mean, when you're pouring the gorp out, some of it'll get stuck on the peanut butter, but that's just more delicious treat.
Oh my God.
You can, even if you want, you can like rub some of your gorp on that peanut butter ridge, and then you've got peanut butter and gorp.
You mad geniuses.
Dude, I'm telling you, Ranger Rick changed my fucking life, dog.
How have I known you this many years and you've never told me about this?
I know. I feel bad about it, honestly. Honestly, because here's the thing, Jeff. I swear to you, if you do this for your kids, the next time you go out somewhere, walking around and you're like, yo, check out this apple. Open it up. If you hand a kid an apple and you go, no, open it up, they're going to fucking lose their shit.
I'm doing this tomorrow. You kidding me?
You have to. You absolutely have to. And not only that, but Jeff, no one's hangry on that trip. And not only are they not hangry, but there is the fascination with human ingenuity on top of not being hungry.
Good vibes, good feelings, invention. It's all there.
It's all there, dude. I'm telling you, this is the thing. We are being hungry. We misinterpret it so much as an emotional state because it turns up the dial on everything. And so some of these people who are doing these studies are asking the same thing that you're asking. It's like, okay, but what if I don't have my Gorp apple on me? What if it's not time to eat? What if I am sticking to a diet? What do I do? And the answer is you have to kind of think of it in almost like a meditative way or a cognitive behavioral therapy way. The same things that work in cognitive behavioral therapy or in meditation and getting centered will work when you're hangry, because it's all about going, okay, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What is doing it? And if it is just the fact that I'm hungry, am I so hungry that I need to reevaluate my diet, or am I just a little bit hungry and this is just something that my body does because it's evolutionary, it's evolution, and I can control my mood for the next hour. It's just sort of stopping and being self-aware during all this.
Yeah. We need to institute a Gorp Apples for All program.
Dude, look, we've talked enough about all this shit. We need to drill down to what's real. Yeah. This is no longer an episode about hunger and being hangry and the emotional. Fuck that. I like food that's inside other food.
Dude, come on. Or food that's encrusted on other food. I love encrusted shit.
Yeah, encrusted's great. But if you can get a food into another food, or a food that completely, when you eat, like the Gorp apple or the bread bowl, where it's like, motherfucker, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
I tried for years to figure out the utensils that would work with the bread bowl, that would have the structural integrity that you could use it as the soup spoon for as long as you needed to.
It's got to survive long enough to be the spoon.
Yes. But then when you're done with the soup, you can also eat the spoon.
This is the sugar dust with the sugar stick.
The Lickamades.
Lickamade, thank you. It's perfect. I mean, although there's still packaging of the Lickamade, but the utensil is also part of the treat.
The utensil has to be part of the treat. And the thing is, it can't be, we thought, like, well, what if it's something like a stiffer breadstick material? But no, because by the end of it, even one of those like chompy breadsticks, the good Italian chompy breadsticks, it's going to get soggy. It's going to get soggy because in your bread bowl, you've probably got something like a French onion with cheese, or you've got a hearty soup, or it's a vegetable like a minestrone or a mulligatawny or something like that. So it's going to get. And then we were like, well, what about some sort of a vegetable? Could we use a celery?
Ah, interesting. A celery might work.
But even by the end, the celery was just a little too soggy. We never found the perfect food that
we need to get our
its
top
rigidity.
Scientists on this one. We need our top scientists on this. We need our top food engineers on this. The people that figured out a way to crystallize the syrup and put it in the pancake at McDonald's. Yes. These folks, these innovators, these outside the box thinkers. We need to get them on the bread bowl edible spoon problem.
See, now when you say the crystallized syrup, it immediately makes me think of like a rock candy or something. But the problem is I don't want the soup to become sweet.
We don't want to mix our flavor profiles.
But I do want something with that sort of rock candy rigidity. And,
sure.
And your brain immediately goes to salty. You could make some sort of like a rock salt thing. But remember that at the end of this, we want the spoon to disappear. And I'm not chomping down on solid salt.
Right. That's the problem. What about some sort of hollowed out carrot?
Now, a carrot might have more structural integrity than a celery.
Yeah.
That could be it. That could be it. Or even, it could be trying other various vegetables. So the easiest thing to carve into spoon shape, potato.
Yeah. Or like an eggplant.
Yeah. Something that we're like, and then I think about how they use potato starch for the compostable utensils anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think about like a potato or a cornstarch, like something starchy, I think might be the way to go.
Heat pressed into the shape of a spoon.
Yeah. God, we got to get a chef on this.
We need to move on this. This is $1 million idea.
And then I also want more permutations of the Gorp apple. I love the idea of a walk around snack that just disappears, but is also a container. Has to be a container.
Has to be a container, but it's edible where there's zero result. You eat all of it. It's the tostada salad in a giant potato chip thing that we can. Yeah. Before we get off the soup thing, let me pitch this idea to you. You see if you want to veto it. It may not be a great idea. What about not one spoon, but a series of spoons? What if it's the equivalent of dipping a chip in salsa? You eat the chip every time. What if you just have a stack of spoons and you take soup on spoon and you eat spoon with each bite of soup?
That's interesting because then if you put like some sort of a meaty broth into the bread bowl, what you're giving yourself essentially is a vegetable flight that then turns the soup into a stew.
Yes. And then you don't worry about the soggy factor because it's just single use. Use. Something
where you do like a celery into a carrot, into a radish, into a potato. And as it gets soggy, just dump it in there. Make it part of the stew, baby.
Yes. Slurp, 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 dump. Slurp, 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 dump.
Slurp, 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 dump. That's what we're talking about.
That is what we're talking about.
I don't know if any of the concerned citizens out there are in the culinary arts or sciences.
Yeah, please reach out because we want to move on this idea as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you should know that we've already mailed it to ourselves, so we own it.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do anything with it. Anything you do is for us, which is how it should be most of the time, I think.
Yeah.
Anything you do should be for us.
Just in general.
As the only bearded white men you can trust. And you can trust us when we say that everything you do should be for us.
Right. Yes.
Jeff, how often do you get hangry during the day?
Unfortunately, it's pretty frequently. I am susceptible to this. I am not the best at identifying when I'm hungry. You and I have spoken about this numerous times. We are both, I think, of the same ilk where we'll get lost in whatever we're doing and look up and be like, oh, I should have had lunch 2 hours ago, and now I feel rotten and now I have to deal with acquiring the food and now I'm angry about it and I don't even want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then for me, especially with the ADHD meds and the depression meds, it's like they're hunger suppressants. And so I don't know I'm hungry until, oh shit, I'm starving.
Yeah.
So I try to snack throughout the day. I try to just like whenever there's food around, that thing where like moms and dads, whenever you're on a trip are always like, if you see a bathroom, just go to the bathroom. Doesn't matter if you have to go to the bathroom, kid.
Yeah.
If you see a bathroom, just take the opportunity. I think it's the same
Dad
thing.
used to call that saving a trip.
Exactly.
Save a trip. Yeah.
Save a trip. I think it's the same thing with snacks. If you see an opportunity to snack, you just take it.
Yeah.
You just take it.
You know what honestly has helped me a lot in that regard too, and you mentioned this earlier, is drinking more water.
Yeah.
It's also helped a lot in sort of managing my hanger. is keeping water bottle near me at all times, being able to drink. Because even if I'm actually hungry, having some water does help a bit. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. This is all good stuff. I think what'll help me the most is I'm gonna make myself more of those apples.
Oh, dude, I'm introducing that to my kids tomorrow.
I haven't had one of those since I was like 7, and I think it's time.
It's the greatest thing, Gorp apples. I'm also very hungry right now. Now that we're talking about it, I'm getting very, very hungry.
As am I. So this is probably a good
and angry, frankly.
Yeah, but that's my secret, Cap. I'm always hungry. Hey, if you try a Gorp apple or a bread bowl with a vegetable utensil, please let us know. We would love to see that.
We have not just exactly, not just hear about it, but we want photos.
We want photos. We want to see how it all goes. You can obviously send that to us on social media, but a great place to share it with us and the whole class would be on our Discord.
Yes, the Discord, which is exclusive to supporters of the show. You don't have to support us at a high level to get access to the Discord. Only $1 a month gets you right into the club, get you all the Gorp apple pictures you can stand. And if you would like to support the show at a higher level, we would very much appreciate that. And you get even cooler stuff. You get bonus episodes, bonus video, all kinds of cool stuff. Check out the tiers, the levels that you can support the show by visiting patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.